years?
Well, I have no idea. Nobody thought it would become this. Even it's a truly spontaneous thing that found that just like I wandered and said, "This is what I've been waiting for all my life." I mean, obviously, thousands of people walked in and said that in different ways, and at different levels of commitment. I don't know. I think the important thing is that we reestablish a connection to the traditional cultures that are so deep in us. This need for music, this need for acoustic music, this need for street level music, this need for non-commercial community and art. I think that will keep finding new ways to express itself, like School of Honk, right? You could have School of Honk and no Honk festival. You could have people doing activist street band culture everywhere. We've had bands from, and no Honk culture. No Honk festival anywhere. Because the Honk Festival was in a way the original thing to focus attention on this and make it really visceral to people. And if we keep doing that, that's great, because it is, for a lot of people, it's their high holy days. I mean, I'm of Jewish background. The Maccabees would string me up because, I've become an Epicurean. While I was doing Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, I'm doing Honk Festival. I mean, it's after that. We don't overlap ever out of respect for that culture. But for me, the true high holy days are an Epicurean festival, not a... That's what the Maccabees were fighting, the Epicurean Greeks. Ironically. That's... Because they too were like the Puritans. They were very righteous, but they were very puritanical. There was an orthodoxy. And we're not an orthodoxy. We're an orthodoxy of no orthodoxy. And that, some people aren't going to like that. But we're not impinging on anybody about that. We're not forcing anybody to do it. So I think people want the Honk Festival and they like it. It may change, but I have to say, every time we make a change, the people say, actually, I want it the way it was. Like, I miss whatever it is you stopped doing. I might like what you added, but I miss what you stopped doing. And that shows there's a deep need for repetition in people. They want to know. It's like Christmas, right? You can't say Christmas isn't happening this year. Next year. This year we're calling it off. Or, I mean, Thanksgiving, whatever, or Yom Kippur, right? I mean, you can't just say, we're not doing it this year. If it's a ritual that appeals to people that much, they say, I don't want to give it up, and I don't want anything missing from it. I want, the bitter herb on the Seder plate. Like don't take it away. I'd miss it if you took it away. If we don't sing Dayenu, I'll miss it. So it's the same thing with Honk. We didn't play in the venues in Harvard this year. We just played on the main stage and had workshops in the Common. Not a lot of people say, because then I brought a band over to play in Elliott Triangle, and then all the bands started going to Elliott Triangle to play, and people were like, where are the other venues? I love the venues. I love going over to, Charlie's Kitchen and the alley behind the coop and everything, and there's nobody playing there this year. So every time we make a change, people say, I miss I miss the ritual. So I think there's a very strong conservative tendency in Honk, people to give people what they want. It's only once a year. I want it every year. And I want what I love about it every year. And that, I think, is very interesting. It's very hard to change it because it was so perfect that any change, people say, is less.
Yeah.
Because they loved it, And I love that. I mean, I've become very much, we can add day of action, we can add workshops, but we can't take away the venues. We can't take away the performance. We can't take away the street music, ever. Even in part, without people noticing it.
What does honk mean to you? It's kind of a broad question, I know. But.
Yes. Well, it's a funny name. I love the Cantastoria we do. John Bell and is he's a puppeteer. He's one of the masterminds of this thing. He and others, Trudy Cohen, his partner, they put together this Cantastoria, which means you tell a story with tapestries. Where you tell the story and you keep changing the tapestry. It's an old way of doing like a film back in the in the Middle Ages. Yeah. And they do one on honk. What is honk? And it's very simple and yet profound, I think. They start with geese honk because they're geese. And that's how they, when they're alone, when they get lost from the flock, they honk to let the others know, I'm here, come join me. And then they go to cars honk, because they're cars. Cars honk to say, get out of my way. And then they say, and horns honk, like saxophones and trumpets and all. And by honking together, we make a beautiful thing. So they go from a positive to a negative to a positive of the idea of honking as something very basic. Of course, again, to that aggression, right, in the sense of the cars and the horns, But look at the difference between the aggression. The one is get out of my way. The other is come join me. And I think that's, Fellini has that in one of his, in La Strada, I think it is. They see it, they hear music, and then they see, one person walking down the street playing a clarinet, and then a trumpeter joins them, and all things. And eventually you go into a square, and it's the Honk Festival. It's a giant carnival in the square of the town with, hundreds of musicians and acrobats and people doing all kinds of things, So honk is like the Pied Piper of Hamelin. It like pulls us all together, in this incredible way. So I understand why it is the name of our festival.
Absolutely. Is there anything else you want to add, but would better help me understand what honk is and what your role is? The last question.
I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if you ever saw the old movie with Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall, The Have and Have Not,
No.
Based on a great Hemingway novel, To Have and Have Not, I think his best novel. At one point, somebody turns to Lauren Bacall. Now, Lauren Bacall is a personality, right? Beautiful, but incredibly offbeat, interesting-looking person, really powerful woman. And they say to Lauren Bacall at some point, this is during World War II, somebody turns to her and says, like suspiciously, who are you, And she goes, I'm just another volunteer. And I'm like, that's what we all are. I'm just another volunteer.
I love that.